The main speaker today is Mike Keating. This is Mike sitting in the back of the room. Major General Mike Keating, ex-Vietnam veteran, 37 years served in the Australian Army. Now he's the chairman of the there's a chair that we use the words these days.
Chair.
I'll call him the chairman. I'm an old-fashioned guy. The chairman of the ARM. Please welcome Mike Keating.
I really don't need to say anything after what Donovan said, because I could just say, now are there any questions? And I certainly don't want to give you a formal lecture which might have you nodding off on top of your scones. And I know some ladies want to escape at 12, so I'm shutting the door now. But what I thought I'd do is just make enough remarks to perhaps stimulate some questions or discussion, and cover a number of issues that I'll put on a board there for you. But I'm very keen that you have this opportunity to ask me any questions that you have about where you think we are going, or how we are doing it, or what your opinions are, or anything like that, because it's a reasonably rare opportunity to get in a situation where you can ask someone from the National Committee, and if I don't know the answer, we're in trouble, or secondly, I'll find out the answer for you. So I'm just going to say enough to, I hope, stimulate some questions. And I might start on where I wrote the sort of principles. I mean, Australia is a great country. No one's arguing about that. I think we all believe that, and all we want to do is make it better. People say, the Constitution has served us well and it's not broken, some of these other things. The Constitution has served us well. It was written more than 100 years ago by 60-odd people who believed in the White Australia policy. Things have changed. There are lots of parts of our Constitution that are either defunct, sexist, ageist, and lots of lists. There are lots of parts of our Constitution that are basically irrelevant these days. And of course, the major thing is that the prime place in our Constitution, firstly it's part of a British Act of Parliament. It's not even an Australian Act of Parliament. So it's part of a British Act of Parliament, and the prime place in our arrangements is given to a lady who lives on the other side of the world currently, someone who we've borrowed as our Queen. And really what we're on about is trying to improve Australian democracy. And if we're going to improve Australian democracy, we really feel that the sovereignty should rest with the people. And if that's going to be the case, the format should be really a republic. Now, that said, we need to have a deep and meaningful consultation in our country about what sort of republic. And that's perhaps what didn't happen back prior to 99. It was all a bit manufactured and a bit hurried at the end. And to be honest, a lot of people in Australia, including myself, don't understand our current system to any great depth, because most of us, when we were at school, those sorts of things weren't taught. I think today's kids probably do know a lot more about it than we did. But so people have lived in this wonderful country, land of opportunity, best country in the world, or at least equal to the best, and they haven't had to worry about any of these things, because it all happens automatically. So we do need to have this consultation, and the form of republic that we're going to adopt needs to take into account the people's views. And the people will have many and various views, some formed on prejudices, some formed on agendas, some formed out of ignorance, and that's what the discussion is about. And the ARM in general, and me in particular, are saying that the ARM has not got the sort of perfect solution to what sort of republic we should have. Malcolm Turnbull doesn't, I certainly don't have. There needs to be a national discussion, and that's where, in that discussion, we need to have, as a nation, we need to have confidence in ourselves that we can have a mature discussion, and that people say, oh, it's so divisive, but really, or potentially so divisive, but really our system, our whole system, works on every 3 years the nation divides. 40% of people vote for Liberal, 40% vote for Labor, and 20% vote for someone else. I mean, every 3 years we divide. We're used to that. So why can't we have a discussion? And you know, when the election's over, no one goes around shooting anyone or whatever. We just get on with it. And why would there be any difference when we talk about the Republic? So the opportunities are there, and we need to have confidence in ourselves, because it's really about our national pride. It's about our place in the world. It's about our place in the world in the future. And we must have confidence in ourselves that whatever issues come up, we've got the smart people in Australia to solve them. Not me, not the RN, but our national resource, and sort these things out. So we see that sort of discussion taking place in the structure of the Westminster system. No one really envisages moving away from that kind of concept. We're not going to become an American republic. We've got to get that off our website. We're not going to even think about becoming an American republic. And we've got to become a republic that represents Australia's democratic principles, not slavishly following any other kind of republic, but a republic that suits us, that takes our conditions into account. So, you know, and we also see that happening against our current federal system. You know, there's not going to be catastrophic changes in that regard. So they're the sort of principles that we come from now. In the national context, you're all aware, and it's been mentioned this morning, that the referendum in '99 was lost. Now, actually, the most interesting statistic about the referendum was that the Republic actually scored 47%. So that's the most actually astounding thing. That even given the sort of somewhat hasty process, even given the fact that the wrong question was asked, even given the fact that you could argue that the Prime Minister of the day was cunningly, for political reasons, moving against it, even given all those things, and even given the fact that many avowed high-profile Republicans voted no, and not only voted no, but campaigned for the no side. It's amazing. We got 47%, despite all that. So don't tell me there's not a groundswell there. But as David Donovan said, we need to reinvigorate, re-encourage, and demonstrate that groundswell. So, 99 we lost, sure. Since then, and we had a Prime Minister, Mr Howard, who was pretty much set for the status quo, and to his credit, made that very obvious. So it wasn't much going to happen. Last year, with the election of a Labor government, ALP policy includes a section about moving towards a republic and how they saw that happening. So it's part of the policy of the government that all of the Australian people voted for last year now. And not only now, of course, we have the leader and deputy leader of the opposition who are avowed Republicans. We have the Chief Justice of the country who is a Republican. The newly elected Premier of West Australia is a Republican.
The Governor-General.
Governor-General scratched a bit, might be a Republican. The new Governor of Queensland scratched a bit, might be a Republican. So there are lots of avowed Republicans in positions of public leadership. Unfortunately, the aforesaid are not necessarily going to take a leadership position on the Republic. For one reason or another, it probably doesn't suit them politically. And therefore, whilst they are in leadership positions, and whilst it's handy for our cause that they are avowed Republicans, they are not the magic answer. They are not the magic bullet. The people are the magic bullet.